What's up, YouTube? What's going on? ItzzzzzP here, and I'm back with another video. Or, well, on my YouTube, this will probably be my first video, so this is my first YouTube video. Normally, I'm on Twitch doing reactions, but I actually wanted to try recording, like an actual YouTube video today. Today, I think I'm going to be reacting to probably some strange deaths or something like that. Because I've been seeing a few Twitch streamers and YouTubers reacting to this specific video, but I'm gonna try and react to something different because I'm kind of sick of seeing that video and I've already seen it and I want to see some new deaths. So, and I apologize for the brightness over here. It's daytime. Normally I stream during nighttime or like in my darker room, but I'm moving out of my college dorm, so that's why there's stuff everywhere. Like, I'm moving out. It's move out week, so. But I wanted to make a video for you guys before I went back home. So I hope that you guys enjoy, and if you do, then drop a like and also subscribe to my channel. And if you also like, then you could go drop a follow on my Twitch, which that's going to be linked in my YouTube, and it's also linked in my Instagram and any other platform you guys follow me on. My TikTok will also be linked in my YouTube bio as well. Thank you guys for watching. Let me stop talking and I'm gonna get right into the video.
Morbid to admit it, sometimes death can be pretty funny. Just make sure it isn't too funny, or you might be joining the deceased by laughing yourself to death. That's right, laughing yourself to death is a thing that can happen in some rare circumstances. And a few of the circumstances we were able to track down had some incredibly strange things in common. Take, for example, the alleged death of Chrysippus of Soli, an ancient Greek Stoic philosopher who died in 206 BC. According to one account of the famed thinker's demise, he met his end by laughing himself to death after seeing a donkey eating figs. He remarked to a nearby slave that someone should fetch the donkey wine to wash the figs down, and was apparently so amused by his own joke at the fig-eating donkey's expense, he literally died as a result.
Let's cut the shit, man. You not finna.
How much do y'all believe that? You really think that that dude actually, like, real life laughed himself to death? I don't think that bro laughed himself to death, twin. Like,
Result. Who would have thought a donkey eating figs was so funny? Apparently, the Spanish king Martin the Humane also succumbed to a comical fate in 1410. While he might have been called Martin the Humane, he could have also been called Martin the Hungry, because his death story starts with him eating an entire cooked goose and getting severe indigestion. That reminds us of our uncles at Thanksgiving. Given that
really, are these aren't the deaths, are they? Because these are kind of stupid, like, even more stupid than I want to react to. Like, you really died from eating a whole goose, fam. That's the gluttony that the Bible was talking about right there. Gluttony, twin.
modern antacid hadn't been invented yet, the royal court decided that laughter was the best medicine, so rather than a medic, they sent the king's favorite jester Bora to his bedroom to cheer him up. This would be the worst mistake of the King Martin's life. He asked Bora where he'd been, expecting one of the jester's classic witty retorts, and Bora allegedly replied, "Out of the next vineyard, where I saw a young deer hanging by his tail from a tree," as if someone had so punished him for stealing figs. And so the magic combination was unleashed, beasts and figs. The king laughed so hard he died right there, in his bedroom. Martin the Humane's goose was well and truly cooked. In defense of the world's fig-hungry mammals, there have been plenty of other reasons people have died from laughter throughout history. Another example from the ancient world was the Greek painter Zuzius, famous for his brilliant still life works and also for his weird death. He was commissioned to paint a portrait of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, by an old woman, who also insisted on modeling for the painting. This caused Zuzius to laugh himself to death, presumably also murdering the...
Bro, I'm so sick of these people who are like laughing themselves to death. This is like, y'all are dying in the lamest way. How do you laugh yourself to death, twin? Like, get a grip, nigga. It's never that funny. I'm sorry, bro.
Sixth death of Pietro Argentino, and both involve him dying from laughter. This Italian author, painter, and all-around weirdo was told a dirty joke at a party, and depending on who's telling the story, either laughed so hard he died or fell off his chair from laughing so hard and fractured his skull. The Scottish aristocrat Thomas Urquhart was also believed to have died laughing in 1660 when he heard Charles II had taken.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to hear this all the way up in the timeline. Like, I'm finna skip, like, I'm finna do another video. There has to be another one.
Store, keeping track of inventory was a headache. Being able to use
Bro, why I thought that was Rolly from Baddies, bro.
you got a problem with me?
Or not Rolly, I thought that was Biggie, fam.
So today, we're looking.
Alright, let me put this in full screen and then we're gonna get right into the video. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in. Thank you to everyone who's watching my vids. All of that is stuff that you guys don't have to do, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys, and I hope that you guys can get me to 20 follows. Sorry, my charger tweaking.
Looking at the dumbest deaths recorded in human history. Number 10. Chrysippus of Soli. Our first story, a philosopher who laughed himself to death. Yes, you heard that.
I just fucking switched videos so I don't have to hear about these people laughing themselves to death. And here I am. The first person is laughing themselves to death.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
That right, died from laughter. According to the ancient historian Josephus, the famous Greek philosopher Chrysippus of Soli died simply because he couldn't stop laughing. Who would have thought that a man so full of wisdom and logic would get taken out by something as simple as a laugh? Not exactly the sharpest exit for a philosopher, is it? Now, Chrysippus wasn't just any philosopher. This guy spent his life teaching people to control their emotions, saying real wisdom was about mastering your impulses. But all that wisdom couldn't save him from his own sense of humor. It all started one afternoon when Chrysippus was walking through his garden, when he saw a donkey munching on some fish.
We literally just heard this story. I'm fasting forward through this, guys. Sorry. I don't want to hear that again.
Or cardiac arrest. Your body literally runs out of oxygen, and if it's not stopped in time, well, you can end up like Chrysippus. So yeah, maybe tone it down next time you're watching cat videos. Number 9. Hans Steininger, a 16th century mayor from Austria. Now, you'd think a mayor would be remembered for their leadership skills or maybe some groundbreaking policies. But no, Hans was famous for one thing and one thing only, his ridiculously long beard. And when I say long, I mean nearly 4.
Question though is, why do they have his beard splitting down the middle like he got an extra set of legs? Like, why? There's no way you're telling me that that dude had his beard just split. Like, he had it going down to right here and he just split it off. Like, there's no way you're telling me he did that. If so, that's an ugly ass beard. Beard looking like 2 long nuts. Like, I can't even lie, fam. You need to get rid of that. After a certain length, chop
4
it,
feet
fam.
long. This beard wasn't just facial hair. It was practically a local celebrity. Fast forward to 1567.
Hold on. I gotta pan back to the people who are on the floor, bro.
Just facial hair. It was practically a local celebrity.
What are y'all doing? They're literally on the floor fawning over this nigga's beard. It's crazy. I can't lie. This is some cult shit.
Fast
bruh.
forward to 1567, and everything in Hans's town is going just fine until disaster strikes. The whole town catches fire, and as you can imagine, things get pretty chaotic.
What did them niggas get hit by a nuke? The whole town on fire, bro? that shit just spontaneously combusted. The entire town spontaneously combusted is crazy, bro.
Hans, being the practical man he was, usually kept his massive beard tucked neatly into his jacket. I mean, safety first, right? Because when you're rocking a 4-foot beard, precautions
They did not have to have him doing that animation, bro.
are a must. But in the midst of the panic, with everyone running for their lives, Hans forgot the most important safety tip of all: tuck the beard. And that's where things went very, very wrong. As the fire raged on, Hans did what anyone would do. He ran, but with his beard trailing behind him like a fuzzy cape. Disaster was inevitable. And then it happened. A moment of pure tragic irony. Hans tripped. On what, you ask? Yep, you guessed it, his own beard. One wrong step and down he went, crashing to the ground in an epic slow-motion fall. Unfortunately, the fall was no joke. Hans broke his neck and died on the spot.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I'm falling, like, you're not even up at a height. Like, I'm falling from floor level and I broke my neck. That would actually make me mad, twin. Like, what do you mean I'm dead because I just tripped and fell? Like, what are the odds you trip and fall and you break your neck? Like, from floor level, you're not falling from floor level. You fall down and you break your neck.
All thanks to the very beard he'd spent years growing. In the end, Hans Steineger's beard, the symbol of his pride, became his downfall. His long beard made him stand out in history, but not quite in the way he'd hoped. Number 8. Aeschylus. In the golden age of ancient Greece, a time full of great thinkers, fearless warriors, and famous playwrights, there was Aeschylus, often called the father of tragedy. Aeschylus didn't just write plays. He transformed Greek theater from simple choral performances into complex multi-actor dramas. His tragedies, like Prometheus Bound and the Oresteia, dealt with big themes of fate, justice, and the gods. While his plays were full of drama, his own death was nothing short of, well, absurd. One day, while Aeschylus was going about his daily business, probably thinking about his next masterpiece, an eagle was flying overhead with its breakfast, a tortoise. Now, Aeschylus was known not just for his plays, but for his bald, shiny head,
I already see where this is finna go. I
a
already
perfect
know.
target in the eyes of an eagle. Spotting his shiny head, the bird thought, a perfect rock. Since eagles are clever problem solvers, they drop tortoises from high altitudes onto rocks to crack the hard shell and enjoy the soft flesh inside. You know where this is going, don't you?
I do.
With sharp eyes and a hungry determination, the eagle positioned itself above Aeschylus's unsuspecting bald head and dropped the tortoise. Aeschylus, still deep in thought about his next play, didn't see it coming. Wham! The tortoise crashed down, killing him instantly. So, next time you're out in the open, keep an eye.
Bro, that's like a new fear unlocked. Imagine you're just chilling out in nature, just enjoying it, brainstorming, and all of a sudden, doom. Like that's like those cartoons when the coconut drops on the dude's head and it's like those little stars. Like that's what this feels like. There's no way you're telling me I got killed from a flying tortoise. Flying.
Out for falling tortoises. You never know when they'll strike. Number 7. Sigurd the Mighty. It was the year 892 CE on the cold, windy plains of Scotland. Sigurd the Mighty was a towering Viking warlord, famous for his brutal conquests and legendary strength. This guy wasn't just a warrior, he was a force of nature, feared by anyone who dared to cross his path. But as mighty as he was in life, his death was as unexpected and absurd. After a tough battle, Sigurd had defeated his enemy, a local leader named Malbridget. But victory wasn't enough for Sigurd. He wanted to make a statement. So, in true Viking fashion, he took the severed head of his fallen enemy and tied it to his horse's saddle. Because, why not? Vikings were all about those grisly trophies. As Sigurd rode through the rugged highlands, the severed head bounced with each stride of the horse. But here's the twist. The severed head wasn't quite done with him yet. As the horse galloped, one of Malbridget's teeth scraped Sigurd's leg. At first, it seemed like nothing, just a scratch from the skull of his dead enemy. But in those days, even a small wound could be deadly, thanks to infections that spread quickly without proper treatment. Now, here's where things get ironic. That tiny, barely noticeable scratch soon became infected. Before Sigurd knew it, the infection spread through his body, bringing down the mighty Viking warlord who had killed so many enemies. In a cruel twist of fate, Sigurd the Mighty, legendary warrior, was killed by a single tooth.
I ain't gonna lie, that's a little bit of karma because he was trying to overkill, ride with the head on the horse, and it seems like karma got you. So I think that's a lesson to all of you guys out there. That karma will come and get you, fam.
In the end, Sigurd's greatest enemy wasn't a warrior or a weapon. It was a tooth. It's a grim reminder that no matter how strong or powerful you are, the smallest of things can sometimes bring you down. And sometimes, death has a strange sense of humor. Number 6. Tycho Brahe. In the 16th century, there was a Danish astronomer who basically rewrote the grand old constellations. Tycho Brahe. This guy was no ordinary man. He had a copper nose. Yes, you heard that right. A copper nose. One nose? Well, let's just say he got it caught in a fight over a math argument and had it chopped off. But despite his odd appearance,
What? And like back then, it's not like y'all had calculators or anything. They were probably fighting over like 2 plus 2, fam. Like, and bro got his nose cut off. He had to get it replaced by a piece of copper. How does that work? Does he still get boogers? Copper boogers? Think about it.
Tycho became popular for his thorough observations and cool astronomical gadgets, and even earned the support of kings. His work laid the foundation for future discoveries, even influencing none other than Johannes Kepler. But for all his brilliance, Tycho's death was just as strange as his copper nose. It wasn't a miscalculation of the stars or a failed theory that killed him. It was his bladder. In 1601, Tycho went to a royal banquet. Back then, astronomers were like celebrities, and getting invited to dinner with royalty was a big deal. But during the meal, Tycho needed to use the bathroom. Here's the thing. In 16th century European courts, it was considered extremely rude to leave a banquet before the king. So Tycho, ever the noble guest, decided to hold it in. As the night went on, Tycho's discomfort grew, but he still wouldn't excuse himself. Hours passed, and eventually his bladder just couldn't hold it anymore. The strain caused it to burst open like an overfilled balloon, leading to internal injuries. Tycho finally left the banquet, but it was too late. He suffered for 11 painful days before dying, as 16th century medicine couldn't save him from such an injury. In the end,
Like that's how those kids be feeling when the teachers tell you can't use the bathroom. Like, what do you mean I can't go pee? You want me to pee on myself? And he a G for that. Bro held it. Not only he hold it until he peed himself, he held it for so long that his bladder just burst. He skipped the whole peeing on himself part. Cause I thought like if you hold it too much, your body has no choice but to just release it. That bro held it for even longer until his bladder burst. I wonder how painful that is. And then he was alive for 11 days in the 16th century, like just dying from infection. Because I know they didn't know what to do. That must have been a very terrible death. All because you ain't want to go pee, bruh.
Tycho Brahe, a man who spent his life studying the universe, was brought down by something as simple as holding his pee. It's cosmic irony, right? Even those who reach for the stars are still stuck with basic human problems. Number 5. Pythagoras. Next up is a man whose name
Oh, man. I don't want to hear nothing about no Pythagoras, bruh. I was so sick of the Pythagorean theorem. I can't even lie, bruh. Or like sometimes I cannot understand it, bro. Like they're giving me one part of the Pythagorean theorem. I gotta find the other two based on a triangle. Like what are we really doing here? Like what are we really doing
might
here?
just bring back memories of high school math. Pythagoras. You know, the guy who came up with the Pythagorean theorem. The one who made geometry a bit more complicated. But besides being a mathematical genius,
Yeah, he definitely made geometry more complicated. All I should be learning in geometry is circle, triangle, square, rectangle. That's all I should be learning. I shouldn't even be learning about pyramids. I don't want to hear no physics. No, I should be learning about like I shouldn't even be learning about a pyramid. If anything, if y'all want to teach me about something, teach me about a rhombus, nigga. Don't even teach me about nothing three-dimensional, bro. Like, math was fun until it started involving letters. And I thought it was cool, like, in, like, 7th grade. I was like, oh my gosh, like, we're getting the big kid math until it just started getting harder and harder and harder.
known for some, let's say, strange beliefs. One of his beliefs? He was totally convinced that beans were sacred. Yes, you heard that right. Pythagoras believed that beans, those little things we eat without a second thought, had deep spiritual meaning. Some say he thought beans contained souls. Others say they represented life and death. Either way, Pythagoras was serious about avoiding beans. Now, fast forward to his final moments. It wasn't a math problem that killed him. No, it was his bizarre bean belief. Pythagoras found himself in a sticky situation. He was being chased by enemies, most likely political or philosophical rivals, who had had enough of his teachings. Desperate to escape, he ran through the streets until he came upon a field. And what was in that field? You guessed it, beans. Pythagoras now faced a dilemma. He could run through the bean field to save himself, or stick to his belief that beans were sacred and untouchable. He was so devoted to his belief that he refused to run through the beans. Instead, he stopped right there at the edge of the field. His enemies quickly caught up with him, and without a single
I dare you to let me build you.
Bro, first of all, he just pissed me off because, nigga, why are you giving me an ASMR whispering in my face, whispering in my ear with this face? Look, this look on your face. I dare you to. Like, fam, back up. You're making me uncomfortable. I can't even lie. And secondly, I'll talk about that when the ad is over. You mean to tell me that you're dead, you died, because you weren't finna run through the beans, the sacred beans? You didn't want to crush none of the sacred beans, nigga? You allowed yourself to get stabbed to death? He was beaten to death. Why that guy got a knife? He didn't even use the knife? I'm not gonna lie, bro. Being so devoted to the beans that you got beat to death is kind of crazy, twin. I wonder what was so special about the beans, too, because, like, why not green beans? Like, why just little beans? Like, or why not rice? Why wasn't the rice sacred? Like, why the beans? I wonder what his logic was behind that. Oh, oh, oh!
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up. Fight back, nigga! Fight back, nigga!
Oh! I ain't gonna lie, that's a little violent to be on stream, ain't it? Twitch, this is fake blood, fake gore. I don't know what's happening to Pythagoras right now. I apologize, guys.
couldn't let go of a belief in the mystical power of beans. Number 4. Empedocles. Our next story is about a philosopher who tried to prove his immortality in the most dramatic way possible, by jumping into a live volcano. His name was Empedocles, a Greek philosopher, poet, and let's be honest, a bit of an oddball. See, Empedocles didn't just think he was a great thinker. He believed he was more than human. In fact, he thought he was a god. So, if you think you're a god, how do you prove it to everyone? Well, in Empedocles' case, you do something no normal person could survive. You jump into a volcano and demonstrate your immortality to the world.
Yeah, he's nuts. That guy might pass away soon.
There he was, standing at the edge of Mount Etna, Sicily's fiery, active volcano, with a crowd gathered below, waiting for something miraculous. Empedocles, full of confidence, jumped into the volcano, certain his godlike powers would protect him. But
I'm not gonna lie. You weren't even like, his mom was not finna stray him from doing that, bro. Like he seemed pretty dedicated, and he seemed like he pretty much knew he was a god. So I ain't gonna lie. Like, if I see fam like going to jump in a volcano, like, I ain't finna be leaping over the edge trying to get him. Like, it's like, all right, fam, whatever you think. At least he died believing that he was finna prove he was gonna be a god. So like, at least he died with that positive mindset. Cause bro got burnt to a crisp.
as you might have guessed, things didn't go as planned. Instead of being lifted up into the heavens by the gods, Empedocles just died. His body was swallowed by the lava, and the only thing that came out was one of his bronze sandals, floating up from the pit as a final reminder that, nope, Empedocles wasn't a god. In the end, Empedocles' dramatic attempt to prove he was divine became a lesson in arrogance. He may have jumped into the volcano hoping to rise to the heavens, but all he left behind was a sandal, proof that even the boldest actions can end in a totally ordinary way. Number 3. Milo of Croton. The name Milo of Croton echoed through ancient Greece. He wasn't just a wrestler. He was a living legend, a man whose strength was unmatched, and whose victories in the Olympic Games made him a hero across the land. Milo once...
Look at his face. Why bro look like he smells something bad, bro? Like, that's the face that you make like when your Uber driver farts and you can't say nothing. Like, bro, speaking of that, I literally I was in an Uber the other day, bro, and my Uber driver was farting it up. It smelled like butt in his car, bro. Like, I should have left him a bad review. Like, that's terrible. You pick somebody up in that, bro. It smelled like butt in there. Like, I literally I was like this in the Uber. And I was like, I'm not a person to be rude, or like, if you're stinking, I'm not a person to let you know. But like, dude, it was bad, bro. It was bad. And he had the nerve to fart with the windows up He ain't rolled the windows down or nothing. Just had it smelling like butt in there, bruh. And I was so mad on the inside. I was already having a long night, and I was having to get Ubered, and he just made it worse with that smell. Like, what was that smell, bro? He was literally sitting here farting and tooting away, bro. Like that, I was so mad, bro. Mad is not even the word.
Six Olympic titles in a row, and his feats of strength were so incredible that people thought he was almost superhuman. But despite his might, Milo's death was far from glorious. It was tragically ironic. One day, while walking through the woods, Milo came across a large tree with a split trunk, its massive form tempting him to show off his legendary strength. Instead of using an axe, Milo decided to split the tree with his bare hands. He stuck his hands into the crack, thinking he could rip the tree apart with sheer brute force. At first, it worked. The wood started to crack under Milo's immense power. But then, disaster struck. The tree snapped back suddenly, trapping his hands inside. Now, Milo, known for his ability to crush opponents with ease, was completely helpless, trapped by the very symbol of his strength. And if that wasn't bad enough, things got worse. With his hands trapped and no way to defend himself, a pack of wolves, sensing an easy meal, emerged from the forest. Milo, realizing the gravity of his situation, struggled desperately but couldn't free himself. Unable to...
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. That's such a terrible way to die. Firstly, your hands are crushed. So like I already know he's in pain trying to get his hands out the tree trunk, and then the wolves, they're like, "Oh yeah. Look at Buddy. look at old idiot over there."
To escape, he could only watch as the wolves came closer. The man who had dominated the Olympic Games and been celebrated for his might met his end in the most ironic way, eaten by wolves while trapped by his own power. In the end, Milo's greatest asset, his legendary power, was also his downfall. He spent his life proving that nothing could stop him, but it was the very strength that defined him that led to his tragic and ironic death. Number 2. Qin Shi Huang. Imagine ruling over one of the greatest empires in history, holding immense power and believing you could live forever, only to be killed by the very thing you thought would grant you immortality. This is the story of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. Known for uniting China and leaving behind the famous terracotta army, Qin Shi Huang was obsessed with one thing above all: immortality. Qin Shi Huang wasn't just any emperor. After uniting China in 221 BCE, he became obsessed with the idea of living forever. He believed that since he had united the great Chinese Empire, he should live to see its greatness for all eternity. He surrounded himself with alchemists and scholars who promised him secret formulas to cheat death. His obsession with immortality grew so strong that he sent expeditions across the land to find mythical islands said to hold the elixirs of life. Eventually, his advisors recommended something they were sure would work: a substance called cinnabar, a mineral form of mercury. In ancient Chinese alchemy, mercury was believed to have life-extending properties.
Bro, that's actually the opposite. Y'all thought that mercury is gonna extend your life, and you got mercury poisoning. Is crazy, fam. And I think mercury poisoning, like when you have that, is really bad and you get really sick, I believe. But like really, people were just out there eating mercury or like using mercury in makeup and stuff like that, and just having cancer and getting really, really sick. Fun fact.
And who was going to argue with the emperor? If Qin Shi Huang believed it, then that's what he would consume. So he started taking mercury pills regularly, convinced that with each dose, he was one step closer to becoming a god. But there was just one small problem. Mercury is highly toxic. Over time, the emperor's health started to get worse. He experienced hallucinations, mood swings, and physical weakness, yet continued to take the mercury, not knowing it was slowly poisoning him. In 210 BCE, while on a tour of eastern China, Qin Shi Huang suffered a severe collapse. His body, weakened from the mercury poisoning, couldn't take it any longer, and the emperor who once ruled an empire fell for the last time. The emperor who tried so desperately to escape death had sealed his fate with his own hand, poisoned by the very
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If he would have just like not tried to cheat death, he low-key would have stayed alive for longer.
substance he believed would make him live forever. Number 1. Charles II of Navarre. Charles II of Navarre had earned a rather fitting nickname, Charles the Bad. And for good reason, too. This guy wasn't exactly known for his kindness or honesty. His reign was marked by betrayals, cruelty, and countless acts of treachery. He stabbed so many people in the back, literally and metaphorically, that no one could have predicted just how bizarre and fitting his own death would be. By 1387, Charles was old, sick, and, no surprise, not very well liked. His enemies were countless, but in the end, it wasn't a rival or an assassination that got him. It was something far more ridiculous: his doctors. Back then, medicine wasn't exactly what we'd call advanced. In an attempt to treat his illness, Charles's doctors came up with a rather unusual remedy. They wrapped him in a cloth soaked in brandy, thinking it would somehow help him recover. That's right, brandy, the stuff we drink. They soaked the king in it and wrapped him up tightly, like a medieval cocktail. One night, while the servant was tightening the cloth around him, she accidentally brushed it against a candle. Boom! The brandy-soaked cloth instantly caught fire, and before anyone could do anything, Charles was engulfed in flames. In a matter of moments, Charles the Bad became Charles the Roasted.
I'm not gonna lie, Charles the Roasted is crazy. Bro, where did y'all think that was gonna go? Like, just dousing someone in a very flammable liquid. You thought that was gonna go well. The king get that. And then it's this image. Like, bro, y'all messed bro up. Like, look at him. He looked like this is that one episode of SpongeBob where, like, Mr. Krabs had no shell and stuff. Like, this is what he looks like right now. I can't lie.
It's a horrifying
still
way
with
to
the
die,
brandy.
no doubt. But with such a bizarre
brandy.
treatment, it's also one of the most absurd. A king who had survived countless betrayals and political was brought down not by an assassin's blade, but by his own doctor's brandy-soaked cloth and a servant's clumsy mistake.
Thank you guys for tuning into my YouTube video if you tuned in. I hope that you guys like the reactions. Put down in the comments some more reactions that you guys would like to see, or any other videos you'd like to see, because I also play scary Roblox games a lot. So if you want to see some scary Roblox games, then just let me know in the comments. I hope that you guys drop a like and also subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to hit 50 followers by the end of the summer. 50 followers by the end of the summer is my goal. That's not a lot. Like, if 50 people watch the video, that's just 50 clicks. It's free and it just helps me out. I appreciate you guys watching ItzzzzzP, and I'll see you guys next time.
I know you got all dressed up for the club, waiting on Nick.